Well, good morning, everyone. How many of you are from the Nashville area, or how many of you actually traveled in? All traveled in? Do we have any Nashville people here? No. All right. So you guys all took a vacation to come see each other and are about to learn some marketing. Okay. Perfect. Got it. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. My name is Shana Steigerwalt. I'm the founder of Modern Driven Media. We are a digital solutions agency that focuses on building strategies and executing strategies at the intersection of data and creativity. So what does that mean? We help teams implement CRMs so that way you can store all of your data in one centralized place. And then from there are able to automate your communication all the way throughout your marketing, sales, and service journey. So with data living in one place, we're able to help personalize communication, execute creative strategies, and everything from that point forward. I'm also based in Philadelphia. So yes, that means I was born into a diehard Philly sports fan family. That also means I greet people with "Go Birds" most times of the year. And I am used to disappointment, as the Sixers proved last night. So we also are a HubSpot certified training organization. We've been partnered with them for a little over 7 years now. And like all of you, I know this organization really focuses around community involvement. I'm very active in the Philadelphia region. I host a breast cancer gala every single year to raise money for families that are impacted by breast cancer. So all in all, I'm really excited to be here today. And before we get started, I want to ask, how many of you, just for a lay of the land, feel confident in your team's marketing strategy? I love this. Can you shed some light? What are you doing?
Tons of stuff.
Tons of stuff. Are you on specific platforms? Are you proud of some of the creative that you have?
All
of the above? All right, I love it. And now, what specifically is your business?
IT and cyber.
Okay, very nice. And who's your target audience?
Mid-sized enterprise corporation.
Beautiful. See, you're able to answer right on the spot. So you've done your research, you've created a plan. So, all right, perfect. Beautiful. So a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to start with the basics and talk about how traditional marketing has really changed and evolved, and how your business kind of needs to adapt your methodology of how you're approaching your audience, how you're approaching marketing. And then we're going to get into the how. So my goal is that you leave with a way to plan your next campaign based off of everything we've learned around this new methodology. And then we're going to end with the importance of technology. I know we have a big tech community here, so this should resonate with everyone. But a lot of people do not think about technology when it relates to your marketing strategy. And that's just as important of a tool as any of the other technologies you're using to fuel your business. So this image right here, how many of you can relate to feeling overwhelmed in a noisy environment where you see ads, you went to go buy something last week, and now you see it pop up on your social media channels, on Google, as you're searching the web? It's extremely noisy. How many of you can resonate with that? Okay. And talk to me a little bit about, how do you feel when that happens, when it's overbearing? Are you frustrated by it? Have you accepted it? Are you ignoring it? What are some of the things that you guys are feeling for that?
Yes.
Big brother syndrome? There's ways to block this. Exactly. All right. But I feel like we can all resonate with the idea that this is oftentimes frustrating and intrusive in a lot of ways. And what people don't realize is when they are taking advantage of marketing tactics like that, you've already lost some of your best customers because they have a bad taste in their mouth, right? And when things are irrelevant and when things do not resonate, then people feel like your message is not helpful to them and they overlook it and they don't pay attention to it. So one of the ways to really change that is really thinking about how you can go from the mentality, it's about me, and shift it to it's about you. All of you in the seats here and in this room think that your business is the best. At least I would hope so. I would hope so. Okay. You believe in your products, you believe in your services, but at the end of the day, it's your business, right? So why is the person on the other end of all of your marketing messages going to believe the person who owns the business, right? Of course, you have to believe in it. You're trying to make money. You're trying to, stand by your mission. But at the end of the day, we need to focus on the you, and that you is your target audience. And if you are not providing them value, you will not get anything in return. And if you do, it'll be sparingly. So this whole idea of inbound marketing focuses on the idea that you are drawing people into your business. It's like a magnet, right? You're looking at a way to draw people into your business and not hammer them with messages that they don't care about, that does not resonate with them and doesn't mean anything to them. Now, the purpose of inbound marketing is you are providing valuable content so that way you can answer and provide educational resources to your end user. How many of you in here believe that you have something that you can teach your customers? I would hope so. I would hope so. I'm sure when you get on sales calls, most of that is educating, why they should work with you, what questions you can answer. Why not start that earlier in the process? Because your customers are out there doing their research. They're looking for answers to the problems that they're having, to the challenges that they face, and they're going to do research and weigh their options before they most likely have a conversation with you. Now, what we can do when we're starting to build all of this value is we can educate, we are building relationships, and we are establishing trust. Because at the end of the day, people want to do business with others they know, like, and trust. And if they don't know, like, and trust you, then what opportunities do you have? That's why you need to get in front of them with the give mentality rather than the get mentality. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the buyer's journey. How many of you are familiar with the idea of a sales funnel? You attract someone, you convert someone, you close someone. Does that sound familiar? I'm going to challenge that and say it's a little flawed, right? You're moving in a funnel, you get to the end of the funnel and you close your customer. That's it, right? You go right to the bottom of the funnel. In this approach, we're looking at it in more of a cyclical journey, right? Because oftentimes your customers can become your biggest promoters, and the easiest person to sell is a happy customer. What more can you do for them? How can you increase their pricing? How can you offer them more services? How can you direct them in another way? So it really can't stop after you get your first contract signed or the first payments made. That is an opportunity for you to continue building that relationship and expand the scale on everything. So with this outer ring here, you start as strangers, you move into interested prospects, you become a customer, and then you work your way to becoming promoters. An idea, how many of you would say your biggest line of business is through referrals or word of mouth? Okay, many of us. And that's not uncommon. Great thing about that is if you're getting referrals and it's word of mouth, it means you're doing a good job, right? Your service speaks for itself. Your product speaks for itself. But think about if you're able to turn your best customers into promoters, and then you bring in a new service line, a new offering, they're going to become a stranger all over again because it's something new. And so that journey really shouldn't stop anywhere along the way. So if we are looking at this whole idea of the attract phase of this journey, we are going to draw the right people in with valuable content and conversation so that way you can be set up as a trusted advisor. You want to establish that trust and you want to establish that recognition. Give them what they are already searching for. Give them what they are already searching for. Then you can start to attract people, whether that be on social media, whether that be through your blog content, if you're blogging on your website. Maybe it's through advertisements that are not just screaming at your audience to buy your product, but are really focusing on educating and solving their pain points. Maybe it's email marketing. There's a ton of different channels that are very common along businesses to use, but you may also have some opportunities. Perhaps you have partnership channels where you just want to share a valuable resource. Maybe you have a webinar coming up and you have a partnership channel that may also serve their audience because your audience is similar. Take advantage of these ways to get in front of your audience so that way you can, again, build and establish that trust. Once you move into engage, this is where you're really starting to provide your insights and your solutions to a lot of those pain points that they had acknowledged in that attract phase. This just should be where you start to align your service offerings with some of their frustrations. It needs to be relevant. If you go and pitch them on something completely different than what they just said, they feel like it's a waste of time and they feel like you didn't listen to them. So if you can align your offerings with what their pain points are that they first came about and started searching for, you're going to move them further through this journey. And then finally, delight. As we said before, you don't simply stop building the relationship once they sign that first contract. There are ways to continue providing support, whether that's in customer service, whether that's in surveys and getting feedback on how to improve your product. Maybe it's for things that they're looking for next. Maybe it's just providing top of the line customer relationships for them. But either way, these things continue to evolve and we need to look at it like it's a journey that never really ends. And the more that you pull into this journey, the faster it actually goes and the more momentum that you are able to build all the way throughout. So if we look at the traditional model where it's more of a sales funnel and you come to the bottom and then that's it, you really are going to be losing out on some opportunity to scale what your current customers are already doing with your business. All right, so now we've talked about this methodology. Do we agree with it? Do we understand the whole idea of maybe we need to give something before we get something? Does that resonate? If not, I'm probably going to lose you on the rest of this presentation. So just putting that out there. All right. So now what I want to do is we just talked about the basics, right? We talked about this is the methodology and you're probably like, oh, Shana, this is really great. The methodology is wonderful, but we have no idea how to apply this. So let's talk about how to apply this. We're going to talk about some steps. I also have resources to hand out to everyone. You'll leave with a sheet of paper. You're also going to leave with a few resources that are emailed to you. So that way you have some things to bring back and actually utilize with your team, pass along to your marketing team. If you're in charge of your marketing, you're going to be able to use it all. So let's talk about how we create our first inbound marketing campaign, or in your case, maybe your next inbound marketing campaign. All right. So first things first, we need to define our objective. We need to know why we are even running this campaign. If it's just like because we feel like we need to be doing more marketing, that's not good enough, right? Are you trying to drive more traffic to your website? Are you trying to generate more leads so you can close more sales? Figure out the reason you are launching a campaign and start with that, because ultimately your entire team needs to be aligned in order to have success with this. This is also an opportunity for you to set SMART goals. So it needs to be something specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. If you aren't putting actual numbers down with your goals, what my idea of success may look very different from your idea of success and may look very different from your idea of success. So make it quantifiable. Then you will know if you are moving in the right track or if you need to adjust in real time. That's the beauty of digital nowadays. It's not throwing a billboard up on the highway and it's stuck there for 20 weeks and you can't make changes. Everything that you do online, you can constantly adapt to, and data needs to become your best friend. So we are going to start with building our objective. Then What I think is probably the most important part of the campaign planning strategy is determine your audience. And I'm not just talking about, hey, we're going after this industry in this location. That's not good enough. What you really need to think through is not only your demographics, which is the first thing that people really come to, but you need to understand what their pain points are and what their goals are. You need to really kind of dive in deep and understand who your audience is, because if you don't cater what your message is to meet them, then this is going to fall on deaf ears. So spend the time getting to know who your target audience is. Don't just breeze over this, and do not say, my audience is anyone. That will not get you anywhere. You will be advertising to everyone and no one will hear it. Get specific, because that's when you're really going to be able to drill down into the pain points and have those conversations and stop people in their tracks, because they're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm frustrated by. This is exactly what I was looking for and I needed help with this. And wow, this company is speaking to me. Beautiful. So moving into this, we started talking about pain points and, the goals that they have. We need to understand the buyer's journey, which is taking this target audience a little bit further. So how are they becoming aware? What platforms are they visible on? What questions are they asking? All the things that you need in order to get in front of them and stay in front of them and grasp their attention is in the awareness stage. Now, in the consideration stage, this is when they're starting to think of, what is their solution? They've already identified what their challenge is or what their pain point is in the awareness stage. Now they're evaluating their solutions. Is it a DIY type of opportunity and it's something that they might be able to handle on their own? Is it a third-party vendor that's going to help them with a service? Is it a product? They might have a ton of different opportunities at their fingertips, and they need to know which is the best one for their team. But then when they get into the decision stage, that's when you need to sell you, right? So think of the tools that might be helpful to back up everything that you're doing in these conversations. Maybe it's case studies. Maybe it's use cases. Maybe it's comparison charts. Because at this point, they're evaluating you, your price, your success, your value, and you need to sell them on you, but not before you understand their challenges and what their goals are. All right, so we've defined our objective, we figured out who our target audience is, and we understand the buyer's journey of what we need to do to get them to become a customer of ours. So now it's time to craft our message. What message do we need to convey to our target audience that resonates with them? So think of what your value proposition is and how your value proposition ties back into the pain points and the struggles that they are dealing with. There are a handful of things that you might want to highlight. There might be a specific question that they are constantly looking for that they can't find the answers to that you are able to provide for them. But either way, get very, very specific on your messaging and make sure that it's a message that's not only going to stop their searches, but really entice them to take a next step. And that next step could be a variety of things, but you need to first get their attention, because if we are living in that traditional chaos world, that image that we had up here before, that it's just everybody is shouting at one another and it's noisy and it's a nightmare, then the message is not going to resonate. So how are you going to break through that noise? The way you're going to do it is being relevant and answering their questions. All right. So now we build an offer. What do I mean by an offer? We talked about this whole inbound methodology is about building valuable and educational content. So there are a variety of different ways that you can build offers. Maybe it's a checklist of a how to do something that they just need, some information on. That might be really great, especially if your audience is super busy, not big readers, just need something visual, not going to capture their attention. I have worked a lot within the automotive industry, and in auto service centers, and these people are working 6 days a week, have dirty, oily hands. They're not sitting reading anything quick. They need a quick tip sheet of what they need to do with the technology that they're looking for. Maybe your audience is super into video. Maybe it's a webinar and they want that interactive question and answer type of session. Another great way where you can provide them a valuable resource where, again, it's the give before you get. It could be that your audience is super technical and maybe they need a white paper that really specifies a use case for a certain type of service or offering that you have, and they need the data to back it up. Only you are going to know this because you're going to define who your target audience is. So think of how they want to be marketed to and how they want to learn. Cater your content to them. So not only are you going to figure out the format that you're going to build this offer, but you need to establish how you're actually going to build trust within it all. This is the perfect opportunity for you to showcase your expertise. So make sure this is well thought out, it's well researched, it's well planned. All right. Then we're moving into promote the offer. So this is like where everybody starts to think of the marketing. This is all the, the stuff that you need to do for the planning beforehand. Then the promotion comes. And there are so many common promotional tactics out there that may or may not be right for your business. Social media, great. Which platforms? Which platforms are your audience on? Are they on LinkedIn where they're doing a lot of professional networking? Are they browsing on Facebook because they're keeping up with their family? Are they on TikTok? It really just depends on who that audience is. But then you also might have an opportunity to get in front of them with ads. If you are looking to target an audience that you have no real visibility into or have not made established connections, advertising is a really great opportunity to get this message in front of people at the right time, right? So you need to plan a budget for that. You need to know which platforms you need to be on. And you need to be purposeful with it. And again, it's not just the shouting, here I am. It's intercepting them with the questions that they have. So it seems very natural in their online experience, right? Now, if you already have some established relationships, maybe your campaign objective is more of upselling existing customers that you have. Or maybe your campaign objective is you're at a conference like this, right? And you've met all these people and you want to introduce them to a new service line that you have. Email could be a really great way, but only if you have their contact information. If you don't have their contact information, it's going to be pretty difficult to email them. But either way, you have all of these different ways, including your website and how you're getting content on your website, the keywords that you're optimizing your site for, the blogs that you're posting. All of these ways are opportunities to promote what this offer is. And don't forget about your partnerships and your community and the customers that you have. They're all really great outlets, especially because so many of you raised your hand saying referrals was a huge part of your business. Allow them to share it with the people that they know that are also going to be relevant for your business. Look at your community. Don't be afraid to tap into it. It's a little bit more of a manual and organic type of process, but those oftentimes are the best opportunities. So don't be afraid to get involved and talk to your community. Then we're going to talk about how we're going to convert. So we got our message out there. We've promoted it all through these different channels. We got it in front of our target audience. But when it comes to converting, you might have gotten their attention. But the goal of these campaigns is to build up your audience base. So you're most likely going to drive them to a landing page on your website, right? And that landing page needs to entice them to fill out information in order to gain access to whatever valuable content that you have, right? So you need to think through what your call to action is. Is it download this free guide? Is it sign up for this webinar? Is it get access to this free trial? Whatever it is, it needs to be specific, defined, and give them a reason to provide you some information. Not only that, a lot of people start to think through, all right, well, what do we need to collect in some of these forms? And one thing that I will say when it comes to building out forms where you're going to ask someone to, again, complete this form, you need to find a balance between what it is you need to know in order for this to be valuable for you and how much is too much where you're going to deter people from wanting to gain access because you're asking too much of them. So be very purposeful of what it is and allow the value of the content that you're giving them kind of dictate how much you can ask of them, right? If you're giving them an ebook that has all of the secrets to your business, you might want to ask them a little bit more than just name and email, right? If it's something that's just an easy resource and you want to pull them into your email base, great. Then maybe you're just asking for first name and email, and that gives you enough so that way you're able to build that relationship. But either way, these are the things that you need to think of, because if you're not generating leads and opportunities, then this campaign isn't really going to help you achieve that objective that you set at the very beginning. All right, and then nurture leads. This is an area that most people forget about. Very much like the sales funnel that we had talked about, where there is a starting point and there's an end point. You should always be nurturing these opportunities. So when we talked about the buyer's journey at the very start of this conversation, these are things that you're planning these out because there's probably going to be the next piece of information you can provide them that makes them even more interested. So if your campaign is focused around giving them educational information about a pain point that they have, then maybe your next piece of content that you deliver them goes a little bit more in depth, or provides them a solution, or provides them a case study. But they're getting more access to get to know you, because it always comes down to who you know, who you like, and who you trust. Again, this idea of nurturing is a balance. You do not want to blast them emails every single day. It needs to be purposeful. It needs to be disciplined, and it needs to continue providing value, because again, you will get lost in the noise. And if it does not resonate, it will mean nothing. The other important part of this is the importance of aligning your sales and marketing teams, because maybe you collected their phone number when you gave them this offer. Maybe if this is aligned with what your journey is, maybe it's someone from your team that makes a phone call. It says, were we able to answer all your questions with that ebook that we sent your way? Is there anything else that you're struggling with? And it's delicate. It's not going in, hey, we have a great product for you and we can't wait to sell you on this, and here's the price and this is how much it's going to cost and these are what the terms are. No, you need to align marketing and sales where they are becoming a resource and they are becoming a helpful additional service to what it is that they just signed up for. Because oftentimes when you answer those questions and you build that trust and you have a genuine conversation, they're going to want to find a way to do business with you because it makes sense to them. So make sure you're aligning your sales and marketing strategy through some of these nurtured emails and through some of this, traditional outreach that you might be doing. And finally, a performance means nothing if we can't evaluate it and analyze it. So you need to determine, we started off with setting our objective at the very beginning. You now need to figure out, based off of your whole promotional plan, your conversion plan, your nurturing plan, what KPIs you need to focus on to see if this is successful or if this is a flop. Because again, when it comes to digital, you are not locked in to the campaign that you started with. The whole goal is to be able to optimize it over time, make some small tweaks to see if that improves the performance of the overall campaign. And when you're able to do that, again, you let your data drive your decisions, and that's where the power lies. But if you don't know what to measure, or you have the wrong KPIs to measure, then you're really not going to know if this is successful or not, and you're going to get to the end of the campaign, maybe a couple weeks later, maybe a couple months later, maybe even a year later, and it's done nothing for your business. And now it's too late. You just wasted all of that time. So focus on what those KPIs are. All right. A lot of steps, but does it make sense? Does this break it down a little bit more for everyone? Does it make it a little bit more digestible? Okay. So another big part of what it is when you're building out a campaign is when you align technology with your marketing strategy. We are at TEKFest right now. I am not talking to people who are not technically savvy. We know the importance of technology. But let me ask, for those of you that are doing anything with your marketing strategy, raise your hand if you are using any types of technology to help fuel your marketing strategy. Awesome. What are you using?
Seamless AI.
Okay, very nice. All right, so you have some AI mixed in there, but then you have some automated capabilities that go on in there as well. Beautiful. How many of you are also using a CRM for your business to store all of your customer data? All right, a few more hands. That's great. For those of you who are not, this oftentimes means there's a lot of spreadsheets. There's a lot of platforms that hold data in different places. And when you have a system that is cobbled, it makes it very hard to meet your audience where they are. So if we look at this diagram up here, this kind of goes through that process that we had talked about earlier of becoming a stranger all the way through to a promoter. And now with everything and how people are spending their time online, this is a very busy and chaotic and evolving way that they are doing business. Oftentimes they skip around in different areas, come back, reset when they're learning about your business. So if you don't have a centralized place to know what's going on with your prospects and your customers, you're not going to know how to meet them where they are. And it's going to make your life a lot more difficult to continue to give them personalized information and personalized conversations. So with this, some of the power in technology when it comes to marketing is one, having that centralized platform and one source of truth. You don't have to pull from spreadsheets over here and, a product database over here and then try to figure out who's who. And you might have someone who was a lead but then became a customer over here, and you're trying to put this all together and nothing makes sense, right? It makes it very difficult for you to even launch a campaign. Nonetheless, speak to them in a way that's super personalized and in real time for where they are. So first things first, that CRM component, when you have a CRM tied into your marketing strategy, you can personalize the way you communicate that much better, that much easier. In addition, it helps make your efforts much more scalable. So talk to me about seamless AI, right? How much time do you think it saves you on a given campaign just knowing you can set a few buttons at the start and it goes for you?
It's a funny question because our new director of marketing doesn't.
Yep. So, all right. So you're completely off it. You saved all your time on it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those tools that if you're looking to do a lot, just those 9 steps that we talked about before with building an inbound marketing strategy, that can be overwhelming to a lot of people. So imagine if, the promotional steps, the conversion steps, and the nurturing steps, if that's all manual and you're trying to disperse this over 7 different channels, so that means 7 different manual steps that you need to take and multiple messages on those, it's overwhelming. And that's where most people's marketing strategies go out the door because they don't have the tools and the technology to help them do that well. In addition to this, I hit on this a little bit earlier, the personalized communication. When you have your marketing tools backed by a CRM, you know how they've interacted with your brand. You know the website pages that they've gone to. You know the emails that they've opened up. You know where they are in their customer journey. And you know what their sales engagements have been. This helps you personalize their experience even more because if they already downloaded this checklist of, top steps to fix this problem, you don't want to send that to them again. You want to send them to what the next closest thing is to get them interested in your product, right? You don't want to go back to square one. The alignment of marketing and sales is also another important component of this, because when you're able to align marketing and sales together, you're going to make that sales process that much easier, and you're going to put it on your customer's plate. They're selling themselves at that point because they have all the information and resources that they need to make their own decisions. So your sales team is going to thank you for this, because when it's aligned, you don't have, oh, well, the marketing team, they're not bringing in any good leads for us. And then the sales team, or that's what your sales team's saying. And then your marketing team's saying, well, sales isn't closing anything that we're bringing in. There we go. So with all of that, you want to make sure that they're aligned and they're working together, because that's what's going to help the business grow. You no longer have marketing teams and sales teams head to head bitching and complaining about one another, right? You want them to be on the same team because that's going to help you sell better. And finally, real-time visibility into reporting. If you don't know how your campaigns are performing and you don't know what your business is doing, you're never going to be able to tweak and alter your strategies to get a better performance. So it's so crucial to have that data in real time, not weeks later when you're finally able to pull reports, not, oh, well, social, I have these reports over here and Facebook looks to be doing good, but I'm looking at Google Analytics for my website and they don't talk to each other. So I don't know how one is impacting the other. That's why it needs to be centralized. I mentioned before that one of the tools that we use is called HubSpot. And this kind of pulls everything into one, where you have your CRM, but you also have a marketing component on top of it. They have a lot of other different components too, but those are the types of platforms, whether it's a seamless AI, whether it's an active campaign, whether, to some extent now MailChimp's even expanding what their services are. But these tools and technologies are going to help you do better and grow better. Now, one of the big takeaways in this is that people that have a CRM integrated in with their marketing strategies are able to see a 2.7 times higher return on their investment just by simply having all of their information in one space. That's pretty outstanding. And that's so important, because not only that doesn't talk about anything on just the time that you're saving and the frustration that you're saving. This is just on the return on investment and growth for their businesses. Not to mention the less headaches that you have trying to figure out all the answers to the questions that you have. So all in all, this whole digital landscape is changing. And if we keep in that mentality of the me, and not you, we're never going to be successful in building these relationships with our audience. So if we look through how people are constantly online, more and more they are craving personalized experiences. They don't want to see things that they don't care about. They see enough of that already. They want to see the things that they're curious about, the things that they're interested about, the things that they care about, right? So you need to make sure that you're able to tap into those personalized experiences, because if you're just shouting from the rooftops about how great I am, that means nothing for what they need. You need to put the mentality back into what is most important to them and not what's selfishly most important to us. And that will resonate better. So all in all, throughout today, we talked about three primary things. We talked about the importance of kind of shifting this mindset into the inbound methodology, where it's a constant evolution of providing value in order to establish relationships. We talked about our first steps into launching a campaign and what steps need to be taken in order to set up the planning before you go into execution. And then we talked about the importance of technology incorporated into marketing, because it is something that's going to be crucial for your team to centralize everything, to know the performance of what it is that you're doing, and to, perform better and grow better ultimately. So before I wrap up, we threw and covered a lot today, but I want to open this up to any questions that you may have, whether you want to share some of the marketing things that your team's doing and get feedback, or if it's just specific questions that you have around any of the tools that we had talked about today or the methodology that we had talked about, I want to turn this into an open conversation. So with that being said, before we go into Q&A, go ahead, take a screenshot, go to that QR code, quickly fill out the form, and you're going to get access to all of this stuff. You'll see what it's like to have automated communication come out to you and the importance of technology. But I want to open this up to questions. Let me know what you guys are thinking, and happy to answer anything you have. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone.